Welcome to this video on tool interoperability in model-based systems engineering. My name is Christoph Bergen and I'm the product owner of smartfacts, one of our core approaches or solutions for tool interoperability. MIT has a long history for building model-based solutions and modeling tools. Looking at interoperability, we have two fundamentally different approaches. Number one being smartfacts. Here we follow a strategy of coexistence of tools. Basically, smartfacts is one platform that allows to pull content from the most well-known modeling tools onto one web-based environment for easy access, for team collaboration, and for linking artifacts independent of tools. Our second approach is Toolbus. This is a platform of 70 reading and writing adapters to the native repositories and file formats of the most well-known modeling tools. Here we can actually migrate model data from one tool format to another, so we can migrate an enterprise architect model to systems architect, for instance. Okay, but looking at smartfacts, we basically integrate three categories of tools. Number one being the classical modeling tools like Integrity Modeler, Rhpasody, MagicDraw, Enterprise Architect, MATLAB, Innovator. We know them all. These are the core tools in which systems are usually designed and maintained. Then we have the collaboration tools, very popular right now, Jira and Confluence, and of course the MBSE platforms. We have picked IBM Jazz as a core target for integration because we make heavy use of open services for lifecycle collaboration, OSLC, a technology that Jazz is heavily built on, and Jazz is certainly the leading platform concerning the use of OSLC. Okay, so when we look at smartfacts, this platform basically consists of two core ideas. Number one, we want to be able to share any model web-based. So the idea is everybody keeps working in his tool of choice, but whenever you come to a point where you want to share your information with others, you use a little wizard to publish the information to smartfacts and provide easy access to your model, provide efficient collaboration mechanisms, and allow to do cross-model linking independent of tools. The second basic concept is we want to promote a linked data approach. So we want to make use of OSLC in order to basically bring all this content we have normalized in smartfacts into any other environment, such as IBM Jazz, Jira, and others. So basically, we have this two-step approach to do bidirectional linking between Jazz artifacts and model artifacts, and we have a direct way to do bidirectional linking between Jira issues, for instance, and Jazz artifacts. Okay, so I have thought about an interesting demo story for this video, and what I'd like to do is actually to show how we do publishing of models to smartfacts. In the second step, we build some links between models and have a look if these links can also be consumed inside the tools. In the third step, we're going to include Doors Next Generation and build a bidirectional links between Doors Next artifacts and models, and then we're going to include Jira and build bidirectional links between Jira and Doors artifacts, and in the end we'll do some referencing from a Jira issue into models. Okay, so there's a lot to do. Let's stop with the theory and just step into the demo. So here we are now in smartfacts, and I'd like to show you how that platform actually works. Yeah, as I said, um, SmartFact is meant to be an easy to use platform. Models are very complex, but it should be easy to consume at least model based content. And that's why the platform at first sight has only one button. It's my content. So we open my content, and what I have here is an extensive picker that allows to navigate down to model-based content. So I have my personal favorites here. I can flip through them. I can zoom in and examine if this is really a diagram I would like to work with. Um, I can go through these diagrams, and down here I always have a selected area that shows the name of the diagram, the version. So SmartFacts is version aware. Whenever you publish a model, we write a new version. Here's the model name, and here's also a path into the global structure of this model warehouse. We call this instance a model warehouse. This one has about 2.5 million model elements, and we see that this diagram actually occurs in other diagrams. We could also step in. Okay, so I have my personal favorites. I have a global search. So this is just um, a search functionality, very similar to the search engines. I can narrow down my search according to certain aspects and say, well, I'm only interested in diagrams, and so I can flip through the content here. Then I have a global model warehouse tree. So this is a global tree you can extend by adding folders and publishing models. And if I expand such a folder, then you see that there's a lot of content I have already published to this instance. Here are Urban, Innovator, ARIS, Record Requirements Packages, Enterprise Architect, Rhapsody, MagicDraw, MATLAB. So everything we know and love. And you see that every model has its versions, and I can select one. I will be taken into the model tree. This is exactly the model trees, just as you would see it in the original authoring tool. I can navigate in and select an artifact or a diagram and examine if this is what I was looking for. Diagrams always have two views, so I can switch between the metadata view and the graphical view. This also tells you a little bit how our publishing mechanism works. So when we publish something to SmartFacts, we take everything we know and publish it to SmartFacts. We take the model data, the complete set of model data. We take the diagrams and transform them to SmartFacts diagrams as we see them here. There is more mechanisms like model diff, so we could do a version diff. So I select, for instance, from the global model warehouse tree, I can select a model, say, well, I want to compare version 1 and version 3. I'm interested in elements that are only in version 1. I only want to look at diagrams, and I'm really interested in those diagrams that have changed. I can go through the various pages and see actually what has changed. So there are a lot of mechanisms to select content and finally select something and load it into the surface. So let's take this block diagram um, and put this away for a while. Um, so that's an interesting diagram here. And here on the left side, we have a so-called floating container that provides more information and functionality. So like I can select an element here and I will get all the metadata that's associated with this element or with the diagram itself. Um, uh, yeah, you see there are little icons in here that, for instance, give us a hint that there is a link, there are comments, there are chats in the context of this element, there are attachments, so you can add all this stuff to elements or diagrams. And here in the floating container, you have that functionality. I have the chats here. I have the possibility to add any file here. I can add links, and I can also add comments here. Okay, so this is about it concerning the core functionality. Let's step into the first use case and see how it works to publish a model. Now here I'm in Innovator. I have a small model, and I would like to publish that to smartfacts. And as you can see, we have a plugin here. It's a smartfacts plugin that provides um, really much of the functionality the web platform also provides. So I have my personal favorites list here. I can search across the whole platform. I can step into the model warehouse tree and expand the folders, drill into the models. I can drill into any model. Here I am in Innovator. I can even drill into a MagicDraw model here. I expand the folder, I go down here, I say, well, there's an interesting class model. I want to open that. So you see, I can actually open even MagicDraw diagrams inside Innovator. So all this is interesting. There's much more. I can build links. I can look at the revisions, at suspectness. I can start a chat in the context of this diagram. I can view the history. I can add comments. So all this kind of functionality. But we want to publish this model, right? So let's go to publish. In this case, we want to publish a new model, not a new version of an existing model. We say next. We have to find a location where we want to write it to. So we go to publishing demos, and we just call it X01 version 1, and let's go. So this is a small model. It should be fairly quick. So here we are. It is already done. And let's switch over to the platform. And what we see here, yes, the latest publishing was version 1x01. I just click on it, and this takes me into the global model warehouse tree. Publishing demos is the right folder we have selected, and here is the model. I can drill into it, and I will find that class diagram. Just as you see, the look is really exactly the same as in Innovator. So if I switch back to Innovator, this is the original diagram in the authoring tool, and here is the diagram in smartfacts. It's exactly the same. I can load it to the left, and here's the diagram. Okay, so let's step into the second use case and yeah, build some links. So I pick a diagram from Enterprise Architect and load that to the right, to the left side, and I use a MATLAB diagram and load that one to the right side. And now we just select an element on the left and one on the right, and we say add link. We get a link definition window with source element and target element, and I can select a link type. I decide just to select is equivalent here and generate that link. So a link actually has a direction, it has design, it has status, and it has a behavior. And so basically we're done. But now let's look in the original tool. Let's switch to Enterprise Architect and just open the diagram. And you see here we have again the plugin just as you have seen it in Innovator already. And when I open a diagram, so when I change the content, then the that the plugin will ask smartfacts, do you have any information for me? Do I have comments, chats? Do you have links? And smartfacts has answered, and yes, we have some global links. So there's at least one global link, and we see the body controller here, this one here, this element is linked to the transmitter in the MATLAB diagram, and we see there are the occurrences. And yeah, let's go ahead and go to the local viewer and have a look. So we can seamlessly navigate into MATLAB, into Simulink, and navigate into the diagram. And here we have opened Simulink inside Enterprise Architect. Okay, so next use case was linking doors next generation and models, for instance, Enterprise Architect. So let's switch to doors. Yeah, here I am indoors. I'm in a project that's globally configured. I'm in a global stream, and I have selected a requirement and decide to add a link. So I want to link against an architecture element. I have to log into smartfacts, and this will take me to the global picker, and you will uh, recognize this is exactly the picker we have just seen in smartfacts. So I have my personal favorites. I can click on any item here. I can even zoom in and really examine if this is what I want to work with. I can search across the whole platform. I can navigate into the global tree. So I can do all this even within Doors Next Generation. I can use the model diff, the suspectness mechanism. Here's my personal history. This was the last diagram we had just opened. So all this is present also inside Doors Next Generation. And now let's build a link to Enterprise Architect. And let's first build a link to an element inside the diagram. And second, let's build a link to the diagram. This one here. Okay, we say add link, and here it is. So now we have built two links, and they are in the link compartment. So when we change to a different requirement and we change back, then we see here are the links. They are persisted, and I can do a rich hover, and here I navigate into the diagram. I can consume the diagram inside Doors Next, and here I navigate to the model element as I have linked to a model element, but clicking on the lens will always take me to the position where my link actually targets to. Okay, so that has worked out very well, but let's look what has happened on the other side. Let's switch back to smartfacts, and let's see if we have links here. So we click on the link compartment, we update that, and we see, okay, yes, on the one side we have that link to the Simulink element. We have this occurrence here, and on the other side we have two links to Doors Next requirement 172. And let's have a look. Yes, 172. Here it is. Here's the delegated UI, and if we do a rich hover in smartfacts, then we get the delegated UI from Doors Next, and so we can consume the requirement right in smartfacts. Okay, but you'll say, well, that's not what we want. We want to do link building between Enterprise Architect and Doors Next. So why do you show us delegated UIs in smartfacts? So yeah, let's have a look. let's go back to Enterprise Architect. Let's update the link compartment. And here are the two links, 172. And if I do a rich hover here, then I will be taken into Doors Next. And here is the delegated UI of that requirement. Well, very good. So actually we have built a link between Doors Next and Enterprise Architect. We were able to add it, we are able to delete it, we are able to follow it, and we are able to consume it on both sides. And yeah, there are basically three perspectives. There's the perspective of the requirements manager who can see the models inside Doors Next. There's the perspective of the modeler who can see the requirements of the requirements engineer, and there is the perspective of smartfacts where you can see both, and you're able to even consume everything in one web-based environment. Okay, so now here I am in Jira. This is our fourth use case, and yeah, we'd like to do a bidirectional linking between Doors Next and Jira. So yeah, let's add a new issue first. New test issue. Okay. So this is my new test issue, and as you can see, we have added a link compartment here, and when I click on the plus, then here we are in a picker. And first of all, we're used to that. We have to select the link type. As we want to link to RM, so requirements management, we choose the implements link type. Now we have to log into the Doors Next server. We can choose a project. And here it depends if this project is globally configured or not. So this test 2 is a project that is not globally configured, and so we directly step into the artifact picker. But test is globally configured, and this means we first have to select a global configuration, and based on that global configuration we are directed to the artifact picker. We can select a module, for instance, and here let's link to 564 and add that link. And now you can see in this link compartment we have added this OSLC link. You see the OSLC symbol. You see on in the first line the name of the global configuration, and in the second line you see the requirement itself. And when I do a rich hover, then this will bring up the delegated UI of that Doors Next requirement. And when I do Control click, then we navigate into Doors Next here directly to 564, and let's have a look. And here is our new test issue. When I do the rich hover, then I get the delegated UI of that artifact. So having done that, having changed to the other side, we also built a link from Doors Next to Jira. We choose an implemented by link type. We select our test project. Let's go to new test issue. This was the one we had just created, and select that. And here is the link to the new test issue. If I do a rich hover here, I get the new test issue with the two links. This was the first one we had built, and this here is the second one we built. Okay, so here we can click on that element, control click, we navigate to Jira. Here we are in the new test issue, and now I can do a rich hover also on this one, and we will get the delegated UI of that requirement. Okay, so that worked out very well. Yeah, we're coming to the last use case, and referencing model elements from within Jira. So basically, we have not only added the bidirectional links to Jira, but also unidirectional references. So I can write my text here, look at this, and here we can add an OSLC link. And it is exactly the same process of selecting an artifact. I use a module and 349 and say OK, and here's the link, and when we save it, then it gets rendered nicely, and here's the delegated UI of that requirement. But we know that this one works. Actually, we wanted to link um, to a model element or a diagram, so we use the same form again, and this time we choose a different link type. Now we have to log into smartfacts, and having done that, we select a project, and here we are again in our picker. We know that one already, and we add the link and store it. Okay, so and doing the rich hover on this one, we get the diagram of this link target inside Jira. So I'd like to wrap up now. Coming back to the demo story, yeah, we have published, we have built links between models, we have built links between requirements in Doors Next and models, we've built links between Jira and models, and we've built references from Jira into a model. So a lot of new stuff. I think you've seen building, maintaining links using OSLC can be really fun. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.